Welcome back again to the new learning video. Today, we're diving deep into something that's, well, the absolute bedrock of cloud security, AWS Identity and Access Management. You'll probably hear it called IAM.
So picture this. Your cloud environment is this amazing high-tech fortress. But here's the thing. Who holds the keys, right? Who gets to walk through the front gate, and which doors can they open once they're inside? Getting that right is, no joke, one of the biggest challenges out there.
Because honestly, if you mess this part up, it doesn't matter how high your walls are. Misconfigured permissions are a massive source of data breaches. We've all heard the horror stories, right? A simple mistake, and suddenly sensitive data is just out there for anyone to see. And that's exactly the problem that AWS Identity and Access Management is built to solve. It's your command center for access control.
All right, so let's break this down. The best way to get your head around IAM is to think of your AWS account like a secure digital office building. IAM is basically the security system that decides who gets in the front door and what they're allowed to touch once they're inside. First up, you've got the IAM user. Just think of this as an individual person or maybe a specific application. It's like giving an employee their own permanent keycard. This keycard comes in the form of, a password to log into the console or access keys for interacting with AWS through code.
Okay, but imagine trying to manage the keycard for every single person one by one. What a headache. That's where IAM groups are a lifesaver. A group is just a collection of users, like a department. So instead of assigning permissions to each developer individually, you just give permissions to the developers group. You pop them in the group, and boom, they get all the access they need. So much easier.
And then there's the IAM role. Now this one is really important, and it's probably the most secure and flexible option. Think of a role as a temporary visitor pass. It's not tied to one person permanently. Instead, a trusted user or even another AWS service can assume this role for a little while to get a job done. The best part? It uses temporary keys that just disappear after a short time. Super secure.
So the big question is, user or role? And this is a huge deal. Here's the rule of thumb. Users are for actual people logging in. But for pretty much everything else, applications, services, you name it, you almost always want to use a role. Why? Because you never, ever have to hard code a permanent access key into your application, which is just a massive security risk.
Okay, so we've got our players, the users, groups, and roles. That's the who. But now, how do we write the security rulebook? How does the system know which doors each of those keycards can actually open?
That's where IAM policies come in. Now don't let the name intimidate you. A policy is just a document. It's written in this format called JSON, and it's basically just a list of permissions. You attach this rulebook to a user, a group, or a role, and that's how you control everything.
And honestly, even if you're not a coder, these policies are pretty easy to read. A basic one has 3 key parts. You have the effect, which is usually allow or deny. Then the action, which is what you can do, like get object to read a file from S3. And finally, the resource, which is the specific thing you can do it to. So this example, it's just saying, hey, you're allowed to get files from this specific bucket. Simple as that.
And this gets at a really important concept: authentication versus authorization. They sound similar, but they're totally different. Authentication is just proving you are who you say you are. That's your username and password. But authorization is what happens after you're logged in. That's IAM's main job. It looks at your policies and decides, okay, now that you're in, what are you actually allowed to do?
So, knowing the pieces is one thing, right? But putting them together to build a truly secure system is the real goal. So let's talk about the absolute must-do best practices.
And this brings us to what is, without a doubt, the golden rule of all of cybersecurity, the principle of least privilege. I can't stress this enough. The idea is simple. You only grant the absolute minimum permissions required to perform a task, nothing more. You start with nothing, and you only add what is absolutely necessary. That's it.
Okay, so here's a quick checklist you can use today. Number 1, use multi-factor authentication. Put it on your root account and any other powerful users. It's a no-brainer. 2, lock away that root account. Seriously, don't use it for day-to-day stuff. 3, we said it before, but use roles for your apps. Get rid of those permanent access keys. 4, least privilege. Live it, breathe it. And 5, rotate your credentials regularly. Change those passwords and keys.
So, why do we care so much about all this? Well, because IAM isn't just some technical feature. It is the foundation of your security in AWS. Getting it right is how you stop unauthorized access, how you centralize all your access control, and how you build secure automation. It's everything.
All right, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a challenge. Thinking about everything we just talked about, what's the first security rule you're going to check in your own cloud kingdom? What's one small change you can make today to make that fortress just a little bit stronger? Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts or any questions you have, so drop them in the comment box below. And hey, if you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more explainers.